On today's vlog, we're playing Categories Master, a game by Hopeville Travel Gear LLC. Let's play. Hey Sarah, how's it going?
I'm well.
So what are we playing today?
Today we are playing Categories Master. It is very similar to a sort of classic party-esque game called Scattergories. You may or may not be familiar with it. But this is sort of an updated, compact version of that. This is the entire game. You will need pens for every player and a 90-second timer. We're just going to use a phone app for that. So everybody gets a sheet of the pad. And then we are going to play through as many rounds of the game as we like. So you can do the entire sheet if you want. You could just do one sort of subsection of the sheet. You could do half of it if you want, however much you want to do. You decide how much you're going to do, and then once you've done that, we add up all of our points. Whoever has the most points wins. So, very, very simple game, and they've done a really great job sort of, not necessarily revising Scattergories, but sort of re-implementing it in a very compact, very travel-friendly sort of way. So, there's a small section of rules up here, but basically it's a very easy game. What's going to happen is there's this sort of alphabet down here. And what you're going to do is one player is going to sort of like run their pen along this, like this. And then another player is going to say stop. And whatever letter you stop on is going to be the letter for that round. So I've stopped on B. So in this first round here, we're going to, everything that we write down is going to have to start with the letter B. So we'll start a 90-second timer. And then we will attempt to come up with things in these categories that start with the letter B. So I need a city, maybe Boston. I need a country, maybe Botswana. I need a food. I can't think of one right now. We're going to skip that. A name, Bob. Animal. A beetle. That's kind of a bug, not an animal, but that we might debate about. I would need a job and a color. And so the first person to complete this this row right here would yell like time, or the timer would run out. If no one completes the row before the timer runs out, then the timer runs out. Either one of those things triggers the end of the round. Then you just compare. I had said Boston. If you'd also said Boston, we would each get less points than if no one had said Boston. So we do that for each row, just moving down. And this is a little bit different than in Scattergories. In Scattergories, you would only do sort of like one set of categories for each letter, but in this one we do 3. So we would, for the next round, we would pick another letter, and then we would go to the next line here and we would complete the next row, but it would still have the same topics that we had before. And you do the same topic for 3 rounds, and then you get a new topic, and it goes for 3 rounds, and then a new topic, and then 3 rounds, and so on. So every topic, you're actually coming up with 3 words in that category, but you will have different letters for each of the rounds. So that's a little bit different than Scattergories, and honestly, I kind of liked that because it was... To me, it was a little bit more interesting to have to come up with several of the same thing, but with different beginning letters every time. And I suppose you could play Scattergories that way if you kept the card. There's a little card that gives you all the categories that you're playing with in Scattergories. And if you just kept that for all 3 rounds, rolling a new letter each time, you could do it this way too. But we always played when I was younger that as soon as you were finished with one list, you would change the card and get new categories. So I like that they have this here. Anyway, like I said, you can play as much or as little as you want. So if you just want to do one section, that's fine. You do the one section. If you want to do half the page, you can do half the page. However much you decide to do, when you're finished, you'll add up all of your points, and whoever has the most points wins. There are a couple of areas where if you get something, you get double the points. So it has these like master designations, and if I get a word in that category, then I would get double the number of points that I would normally get, which is a neat little thing. And then the scoring is a little bit revised as well. The way that the scoring works is if you left a space blank, you get nothing for it, right? That makes sense. If you had the same word as someone else, you each get 5 points for it. If you were the only player with a particular word in that category, but other people also had words in that category, you'd get 10 points. And if you were the only player with a word in the category at all, then you'd get 20 points. So if you're the only person who could think of something, then you get some extra points. If you were more original than anybody else, you get extra points. But if you just at least came up with something, you still get some points. So, yeah, that's the entire categories master. Want to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
All right, we'll get back to you guys probably midway through the game, and then we will show you our little, boards and how it's kind of playing out. But yeah, we'll see you in a sec. Toodles! Hello, Sarah. So we are halfway through the game, or halfway how we're going to play the game.
Yeah, so we're going to play only the first 2 sets. So we have done the first one. So we are about halfway through. In the 3 rounds we have played, I have scored 90, 115, and 50. Where are you at?
I've scored 70, 35, 50. Yeah, it's okay.
So,
I'm just crying over here with my poor English skills.
Did you have any words that you were particularly excited to have thought of or remembered or anything like that?
Quebec was pretty cool to put down. Queen is a job. I was like, yeah.
Q is difficult.
Yeah, Q is difficult, but you'll get that. So it is what it is.
We actually, when Nick was doing his, he traces his finger along here, and then I tell him when to stop so that we can pick the letters. Mm-hmm. And he actually randomly chose the letter Q, and I said, no, pick a different one, because I want the vlog to, I don't want to be like, I got nothing, because we picked Q. So he did it again, and he landed on Q a second time, and I said, no, pick again.
Then I said if we get it a third time, we're going with it.
And I was like, okay, fine. So then we got a different letter. That was S. We got the letter S. But then 2 rounds later, he picked Q again. So
I picked Q. I'm not the one that said stop.
Apparently it was meant to be.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. Q was difficult. I got a word for every category for both of the previous letters, but not for Q. Q, I missed 3 categories. The food, the animal, and the color. I could not quickly think of anything for those categories. And we actually went to time on that round. So, what do you think so far, Nick?
I like it. It's a very quick game. It's something you can play in the car if you're, just traveling. And that's kind of nice.
Or
and also,
anywhere. I mean,
anywhere.
On a plane or...
You could just, as long as you have a pen and the pad, you're good. And then, you have loved ones that are trapped in the cars with you and the planes, and they're like, hey, so you want to play a game?
I brought a game.
And they'll be like,
how did you manage to do that? We're in a vehicle. I'd be like, we can play this well.
Because these great designers created this game that was compact and, accessible, so mwahaha, suckers.
My family is always good-naturedly eye-rolling when I'm like, so I brought a game. I feel like if I could trap them into a mode of transportation and be like, I brought a game, they'd just be like, oh my gosh.
But it's okay, it's alright. You're here now. But yes, so this is our halfway point. We're both really enjoying it, and we'll get back to you guys when we see who the winner or loser is. You can probably tell who's that's going to be already.
Who knows?
Optimism.
Maybe I'll have an absolute brain fart in the next 3 rounds.
And I'll get the next 3 rounds will be 100 points each. So I'll be the comeback kid. So yeah. All right. Toodles. Hello, Sarah. The categories master queen.
Categories master.
Categories master. So I had 320. You had how many points?
500.
500. Yep. Nice try, kid. But come back when you get better. Get good.
I like the doubling points. There are certain areas of the sheet where you get double the points if you get something in a particular category. I like that. That adds a little bit of extra sort of flair if you're struggling to come up with multiple words in the same set. You can kind of be like, oh, well, I get double points if I come up with something for this one, so I really want to focus on that.
Yeah.
So I like that. I do have a couple of sort of minor issues with the game. One is that the rules are really compact and really concise, and they were very well done for the most part. I pretty much knew exactly how to play the game after reading over these rules. However, there is a portion of the rules where the wording, I think, is very, very poorly chosen. It references columns. And so to me, I thought it was the entire column. And so the first time that we attempted to play, we actually, instead of going across in rows, we went down in columns. And it was a completely different experience, not nearly as good or fun. But then as we were doing that, I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. But it says columns, so I thought we were supposed to go down in columns. And then I realized what they actually meant was for in every row, the sort of the column of that row. So in this row, this column, right? They just meant this single box right here. So I wish they would have not used the word columns because like I said, to me, that this is a column. So to me, I thought we were going down instead of across, and it just didn't. It was an entirely different game at that point. So I wish the wording over here would have been a little bit better, but it wasn't something that we didn't figure out we were doing wrong pretty much right away. We did 2 or 3 of these, and we're like, this just doesn't seem to work.
We're always going to time.
Yeah, we were always going to time. Nobody was ever completely finishing. So I was like, I don't think this is actually the way we're supposed to do it. Let's try it this way. So we tried it the other way, this way, the right way. And we're like, that's the way we're supposed to do it. This is just worded poorly. So I did have kind of an issue with the way that this little tiny rule set is worded here. They should not have used the word column. But that's not a huge deal. It just did trip us up to begin with. I also had a couple of other minor sort of complaints about it. One is that, this is the second time we've played now, and we have just by chance gotten some of the same letters for the same sort of categories that we had last time. So last time in the first category, we got an S. So this time around when we got an S, I already had words in my head from the last time we'd played. And it felt like there was maybe less replayability in this particular version of the game because of the way that that's set up. And then my last little issue with it was not a huge one, but in Categories, the classic game, we played with a rule, and I don't know if it was an official rule or if it was a house rule. It's been years since I've played. I don't know if it's a real rule in the game or if we house ruled it, but we always said that if you could come up with more than one word for a category, not and I don't mean multiple words if the word was, I don't know, pets, and the letter was C, if I came up with cats and cobras, that I could have 2 points. I don't mean that because that was cheating in our table. But I meant if you came up with, let's just do Red River for a body of water, then you would get double points for having the beginning of each of your words be the same letter. And there is no mention of that here, and I think it would be a little trickier to house rule it in this situation because of the way the points are awarded. But I liked that in Categories when I was younger. It presented an extra challenge that I liked. and a nice little sort of reward for players who could think that way. And that is missing from this particular version of the game. But overall, I think they did a really, really good job compacting and sort of refreshing the overall gameplay of Scattergories. Now, this, I don't think that this is supposed to have anything to do with Scattergories, right? This is like not the same publisher. It's technically not the same game, you know, for copyright issues and stuff like that. But the overall, like, what you get out of it overall is pretty much the same. What did you think of the game, Nick?
I thought, you know, it was a good game. It was fun. When we figured out about the columns and the rows, it just made the game a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And we had, you know, a good time with it. And I thought that also you could have more fun in like more places. Like if you're on trips, if you're traveling, this is a very compact game. Like this is all you need. Yeah. And then you just have a pen and that's it. And then you can play this game. It's fun. It's a little goofy.
Like we're all trying to play over Zoom and Skype and stuff like that now, right? Like you could even do that.
You could easily do that with this.
Yeah.
And I tried to say for a body part, saggy butt, and
I was like, no, dude, that is not a no body parts.
It exists, and it is.
It does exist, and some people have them, and that's fine. But that's not a body part. That's a description of a body part. You know what I got for that one? Scrotum, which is a real body part. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, mercy. Okay. Well, other than that, this is a pretty nice little game that's pretty quick and pretty compact and, you know, has its place in the gaming kind of like scene.
Yeah, I think if you like word games, if you ever enjoyed Scattergories, if you travel a lot, if you are playing games with players that you are physically separated from, I think in any of those situations, you should check this out.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that was our episode, our vlog today. And again, it was Categories Master and the Classic Edition. So we all hope you enjoyed this vlog, and we will see you next time. Toodles!